Bum, 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 bum. Ba-cha-cha, ba-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. We're still twinning. Only mine's missing a string. Jeff stole that sweater back from me.
Back is key.
You gifted it to me.
I did.
Jeff has this new habit where he gives me things and then he takes them back years later. So as per example, this sweater he gave to me and now he has taken it back years later. What's on your wrist over there, Jeff? Oh, that's right. It's the Apple Watch, which he once gifted to me and then took back
gift it to you.
I
didn't gift it to you. I wasn't using it, and I said, if you want to use it, you can use it. And you did. And then you stopped using it years ago, and you were not getting into
on and off every
Jamie,
now and then.
no, you wouldn't. It's not every now and then. You would you would turn it on once for like
then I forget.
a year.
No problem with me? You get your chest fluffs out or what? Hello everyone and welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
board games.
And
board gamey things.
Exactly. We are here today with a top 10 video.
Been a while.
It's been a while. It's been, I guess a couple months. But we are here to do our top 10 card games. Everybody knows it's no secret.
Oh, we have to say card a bunch and everyone always makes fun of how we say cards.
Cards. We'll talk extra Canadian for you in this video.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows it's no secret that we absolutely love card games.
You're emphasizing it.
Yeah. As an example, I've got literally 3 just sitting. Oh, wait, I lied. I've got 4 sitting right in front of me. And there's one over there and one over there. There's one. Well, that one's got some tokens. Anyways, we're literally surrounded by them, okay? And I'm here for it. I love it. And so what we have done is we have created for you our top 10. This is a true top 10. They are ranked. And guess what, friends? We didn't need to do 2 separate lists because Jeff and I both made our lists, came together, and they matched number for number, game for game.
It was crazy.
We have never been so in sync in our lives.
10 to 1 were all the exact same.
Exact same. Same.
Mm-hmm.
Craziness.
Now, to be fair, we had a list of games that we both agreed.
Shortlisted, yeah.
We shortlisted and then we ranked based off of the shortlist.
Our ranking was the same?
We ranked them the exact same.
It was very exciting.
It was, yeah.
It was like the most exciting thing that's happened all week.
It's Monday. We tried to focus on games that primarily were cards.
98%
cards.
Maybe 95 to 98.
Maybe a little like QB here or there, but primarily cards.
Yeah.
So that's the definition we're using.
We each have an honorable mention. We picked our own. Mine, Jeff has never played, and so he wouldn't even know about it, sweetheart, okay? And that game is Numbsters from Button Shy. This is a solo 18-card game. I could have put
I was going to say,
many.
You probably could have just listed 10 Button Shy games.
Yeah, that's a totally different video. So Numbsters is, I think, now my favorite Button Shy games.
You've played it a bunch.
18 cards, solo. You could play it in your hand. You could play it so quickly. Like,
I want to try Rove.
Rove is so good. You would love it.
Anyway.
So good. Anyways, Numbsters is my honorable mention.
My honorable mention is one we've played on stream, and that is Sento. Battle for Japan. Why it's on my honorable mention list is because it does have a fair amount of cubes. It is basically a trick-taking majority area control game, and those are 2 of my favorite mechanics. So it was hard for me not to like have it somewhere on this list and at least mention it, even though it might not fit to the same degree as the other criteria we've established for this. But Sento Battle for Japan is definitely one I very much enjoy.
Let's get into our list, shall we, Jeff? Shall we? Okay, number 10 is Hanabi. Hanabi is such a unique game. I don't think I've ever really played anything super like it before. Basically, in Hanabi, you each have, or everybody has a hand of cards, but you're looking at the backs of your cards, and on the front of your cards are beautiful fireworks, and there's a hair tickling, I got it. Beautiful fireworks. And in the center of the table, you are trying to make different piles of fireworks in different colors, going up from 1 to 5. Cooperatively. So I can't see my hand, but you're going to be able to give me a clue. You might be able to say, this card is a 1, or these 2 cards are yellow. And so that gives me a general idea. So I would have to think, why is Jeff telling me that this card is yellow? He's obviously telling me that because it's probably a good time for me to play it. So it's just like, it's
but
such a...
she doesn't know that for sure.
I don't know that for sure. Don't know that for sure. So it's such a unique game, and you're just like, it's kind of like the Mind-esque, but better.
I think it fits in that
Jeff
vein.
doesn't like the Mind.
It fits in that Mind, the crew
Yeah.
vein of game, but I prefer Hanabi over all of them.
Yeah, I think Hanabi, because you have a little bit more control over the situation, whereas the Mind, you're just throwing cards down haphazardly. Whereas here, you at least have some kind of information. And you can play this on BGA, so if you're interested, it's really fun on BGA. I play with people all the time.
Our number 9 is also a game you can play on BGA.
Sure is.
And that is 6 Nimmt. 6 Nimmt is a party-esque game where you are basically trying to get rid of the cards in your hand. It's pretty much impossible to do that round over round, but ultimately you're trying to mitigate that as much as you can, because ultimately you start with, I can't remember exactly how many points you start with, but for every point you have in your hand, you're basically going to deduct from that total. And basically you're playing these cards into lanes, and you have to play them in sequential order. So I might pick a 30 blindly, not blindly, but blindly in terms of everyone around me, and Jamie might play a 32. I have to play that in the row that fits closest to in sequential order. And if I can't, if the row is filled, I have to take all the card row cards and deduct them from my score. There's multipliers. There's certain cards that will multiply that based off little bull's heads that are on the cards. But basically, it's a hidden information card sequential order-esque party game that we've played a ton with friends on BGA, primarily the folks over at Table Knots, and have just had an absolute blast playing. We have played it in person at a couple conventions. And it's just a riot every time we play it, and one we very much enjoy. It's pure chaos. It's our go-to game when we have BGA nights with the Table Knots crew. Our number 8 is called Claim. Claim is a 2-player trick-taking game that has kind of like a monster theme. So how it works is it's played over 2 phases. In the first phase, you each have a hand of cards, and what you're trying to do is win specific tricks so that you can use them in the second round. Because what you're trying to do is collect certain types of monsters, because each of the monsters scores slightly differently. Some of them have like different abilities, and it is so much fun. It's just difficult to make a trick-taking game that works really well at 2-player. And Claim, in my opinion, does that. I agree. And I love trick-taking games. I think it's one that it's a mechanism that you're starting to fall in love with as well. And Claim, being so good at 2-player, I think bumps it up on the list for sure. And when people think 2-player trick-taking game, most people are thinking Fox in the Forest, which we do like. However, I think Claim is just way better. The theme is better. Like, the abilities are better. There's so many expansions that you can get for it. We have one of the expansions, but we haven't played with it yet. And it's just a small little card game. Take it wherever you want to go. I love it. Super fun. Number 7 on our list is a Alice in Wonderland themed card game, again based off of playing cards out in sequential order, and that is called Parade. In Parade, you are trying to play out cards based off of card numeric value and color, and you're basically trying to collect sets, but not collect too many sets. It's kind of complicated to explain. Confusing, but it's very complicated to play the first time. And the second time. But it gets easier. It's a very mean game. It can be a very mean game. And it's just one that is a bit brain-burny. It's mathy. but also has a cute little theme attached to it. And it's
Yeah.
one we've played again with friends at conventions and had a blast playing.
Number 6 on our list is called Wind the Film, aka Photograph, depending on where, hand it over.
It's actually right here.
Right here. Depending on where you live. This is the Madigo version, which is kind of the, not Americanized because it's from the UK, but the other version is from Japan.
It's Sashi and Sashi game.
Sashi and Sashi. Anyways, we were introduced to this game by Dwayne from Blackboard Gaming at PAX Unplugged last year.
Yep.
And it is such a unique, fun game where essentially you are trying to create piles of either ascending or descending numbers for certain colors, and you're building out a film, you're building out a story. So in the center of the table, you're going to have a grid of cards. Some of them are face down, some of them are face up. The ones that are face down will tell you a general range of what numbers are there. Ones face up, you can see the color and the number and all that good stuff. So you are trying to lay those out, as I mentioned, in either ascending or descending order. But what's unique about this game is you have your hand of cards and you cannot exchange or move things around. So you are taking cards, you're always putting them in to the right side, and they are always leaving your hand from the left side. Once during your turn, you get to do something called Wind the Film, where you take a card and you wind the film back and you can put it back in your hand, which will help you to organize a little bit, give you a little bit more control over what you're laying down. What's also really interesting is however many cards you pick up from the table, that's how many cards you must lay down. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. There's a lot of wish and hoping for what the numbers are going to be, because literally you're like, please be a 6. And you're like, oh, it's a 7. I can't use it, or whatever it might be. So anyways, it's super unique, super fun. If you have a chance to play it, I would definitely recommend. We love it, and I love the artwork too. And now a word from our sponsors, World Series of Board Gaming. In the dazzling city of Las Vegas, they say, where dreams come true and fortunes sway, the World Series of Board Gaming takes the stage with the grand prize of $25,000, a glorious wage. 7 Wonders, Acquire, Azul, and more, a smorgasbord of games to explore. From Arc Nova to Brass Birmingham's Might, every move calculated, every strategy tight. Patchwork quilts and Burgundy's castles so fine, Cascadia's landscapes a sight divine. Dune Imperium, Gaia Project, their power immense. Great Western Trail, a journey of suspense. Ra's Ancient Egypt, a bidding game grand. Splendor's gem shining in players' hands. Terraforming Mars, a world to reshape. Ticket to Ride, building railways without escape. Wingspans, birds soaring high in the sky, these games of strategy will make hearts fly. But only the best of the best shall claim the $25,000 prize of everlasting fame. So gather your cards, your meeples, and dice in Las Vegas where fortunes entice. The World Series of Board Gaming awaits, where champions rise and conquer the stakes. Join us, brave players, for a thrilling affair, a battle of wits beyond compare. Let the games begin, let victory ignite at the World Series of Board Gaming, where legends take flight.
Next up on our list is one that's kind of in a similar vein as Wind the Film or Photograph, and that is Scout. We included Scout, even though it's got score tokens and what have you. You don't really need the score tokens, in our opinion. You really just need the cards and
the Scout and Show token.
Scout and Show little token.
Yeah.
But Scout is similar insofar that you're not really allowed to manipulate cards in your hand when they're in your hand. You can pull cards off of the middle of the deck and put it into your hand, but you're not allowed to change them around. Ultimately, in Scout, you are trying to get rid of your cards. Your cards will count as negative points at the end of the round, and you are trying to basically force people to take your cards in the middle of the player area. So, for example, if I was to play out a 1, 2, 3, 4, everyone around the board needs to be able to beat a 1, 2, 3, 4, or they have to take a card from that set. And if they take a card, I get a point. The only way to beat like a 1, 2, 3, 4 is to play something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or a set of 4s. So sets beat runs. But that's the basic premise of the game. You're playing out cards in runs or sets in order to force people to take those cards because they can't beat it, and you will get points for doing so.
Yeah.
And then end of the game, player with the most points wins. This is a very small box game.
Oink game.
It is an oink game, which I'm sure a lot of people are aware are very, very small box card games. And Scout, I think, is probably our favorite oink game.
I think so.
It's close for me on a couple of them, but I do very much enjoy Scout.
Yeah, and Scout it's so popular. Like, everybody knows about this one. If you haven't heard about it by now, I don't know how that's possible. If
you haven't played it and you get the chance to play it at like a convention or something,
it's a fantastic convention game.
I think it's worth trying out for sure.
Hundo. Okay, number 4 on our list is another trick-taking game, but it is one that plays best in large groups. And that is
rowdy groups.
That is Skull King. Skull King is from Grandpa Beck's games, and we do love Grandpa Beck's games. I think their games are super fun. And basically, this is a trick-taking game with a pirate theme. And so in the game, you're going to have a bunch of different types of cards. So there's numbers, there's suits, all of that stuff. But there's also mermaids and pirates and Skull King and a Kraken and different things. Now,
they all have special abilities.
They all have special abilities. The game plays over 10 rounds, and in the first round, everybody gets 1 card. And the most fun part about this game is at the beginning of each round, everybody puts their hands out on the table, and I can't do it too loud because it freaks Juno out.
It does freak Juno out.
So bad, like she will literally hide, but you go, yo, ho, ho, and then you say however many tricks you think you are going to win that round. So what's really funny about this is in round 1, everybody only has 1 card. If everybody puts out 1 finger, you're like, whoops. And so if you are successful with your bid, then you get
positive points, basically.
Positive points. And if you are unsuccessful,
you will get negative.
You will get negative points. And that negative amount of points is going to increase as the round increases. If you bet 0 and you get 0, you are rewarded heavily.
Depending on the round. Basically, bidding 0 is kind of like shooting for the moon.
Shoot for the moon.
So, for example, if you bid 0 in round 7, you're going to get 10 times 7.
70 points.
70 points.
That's wild.
But if you bid 0 and don't get 0, you are going to get the equivalent of that negatively. So it is really a big swing.
Yeah.
I love bidding 0. I will bid 0 almost every chance I get.
Yeah.
And I'll just swing for that fence.
Yeah, and it's really, really fun with all of the different types of cards, because you might think, I've got the Skull King, I'll throw that out, but the mermaid beats the Skull King. And then there's one card, there's a special card you can add in called the Kraken that just blows everything up. Nobody wins
the hand. Yep.
And it's just
there's also
so much fun.
There's like white flags you can throw in, so you can kind of be like,
so
I want out on this one.
Yeah.
I think where the gameplay gets really, really unique and fun is just the variance of like those special cards. There's like one suit that trumps all other colored suits. It's such a rowdy, fun time if you get the right group at the table playing it.
It's amazing.
Our number 3 is a game that recently came out, and it has just taken us by storm, and that is Sea Salt and Paper from Bombix.
Yeah.
We originally played this on BGA, and then we promptly ran out and got a copy because it is absolutely incredible. And I know that you might be saying, that's recency bias. I'm telling you right now, this game is going to live through the test of time. In Sea Salt and Paper, you are literally just doing a set collection piece, but where it's unique is that you either get to draw off the top of the deck randomly, draw 2, pick 1, return 1 to the 2 piles that are up, or you can take one off the top of the piles.
But then people know
what you're going for. So there's a bunch of different cards in here. Normally, pairs will allow you to score a point as well as do something. It might be draw another card off top of the deck. It might be take another turn. It might be look through one of the face-up piles and take a card. There's set collection element to it. There's point multipliers, wherein if you're collecting penguins, you might get a card that gives you an extra 2 points per penguin. And ultimately, in a 2-player game at least, it's a race to 40 points.
Yeah.
What's really interesting, though, is as soon as you get to 7 points, you can do kind of one of two things. You can say stop, and everyone has to stop, and you basically will count your points right then and there.
Yep.
Everyone will. Or you can say last chance. And last chance means everyone gets to take one more turn, but if you score the most, you, during that last chance, during that call out that you've done, you will score a bit of extra bonus, basically. Yeah. The alternative way to win this game is to collect 4 mermaids, which is crazy. It's not happened.
There's only 4 in the whole deck.
I had 3 once, and I was so excited to try and get the 4th, but I couldn't. Sea Salt and Paper just has incredible art for a small box card game. It's origami, sea-esque art. It's awesome. And the gameplay is insanely addictive, and I don't know inherently why.
Yeah.
But it's so smooth and so fast.
You could play it with anyone.
And it's so easy to introduce to people, and I think this is one that's going to continue just blowing me away.
Yeah, this is one of those games that if you took it to like a pub or a patio and you're playing, a bunch of people would probably be like, oh, like, what are you playing? Because it's so pretty, and it's so easy to explain, and it's also completely inexpensive. It's just a deck of cards. You can play it on BGA. The BGA implementation is fantastic, so feel free to check that out.
To give it a try.
Number 2. This is a little bit tough, but I think this falls at the right spot. Number 2 for us is Fuji Flesh. Fuji Flesh could have the potential to be number 1, but it is totally group dependent and is totally numbers dependent, as in like you need to have, it's so much more fun when you have like a solid group of like 6+ is what you need.
It's a little bit more dependent on other things to be 1, in my opinion.
So Fuji Flesh is basically like a party-style card game where you are just trying to get rid of all of the cards from your hand, and you want to be the first person to do that. And basically, you are going to go around and around and laying a card. So let's say I lay a 5. If Jeff lays a 3, I'm still good. If Jeff lays a 6, he's fleshed me, and I have to draw a new card.
Because 6 is higher than 5.
Because 6 is higher than 5. Now, by 5 would be it'd be shocking if 5 got all the way around, but let's say I had a 16 and nobody else laid out anything that could flesh me. My card goes into the discard, and now I've got 1 less card. And that's how you get rid of your cards. Now, what is the best part about this game is building trains. Okay, so if I lay a 2 and then Jeff lays a 2, guess what? We've just made a 2-chew train. You could do it with any number, but it's the funnest to say with 2-chew train. And people will often join a 2-chew train, even if it doesn't help them win, just because it's fun.
And kudos to Board Game Barrage for coming up with that terminology we've used a ton.
Yeah. Big thanks. So then, let's say Jeff and I both laid those 2s. Well, now combined together, we are stronger. Now we each have 4. So somebody would have to lay something higher than a 4. If the next person laid a 2 because they wanted to join the train because they're fun, then we would have 6. And somebody would have to lay something higher than a 6.
But
and that's how it works.
If someone did lay higher than 6, they would all get flushed.
But if it got all the way back around to us, then we all get to discard.
Everyone in the train gets to discard.
Exactly. And like I said, you could do, if you have 11 chew train. It just doesn't sound as cool. Anyways, that's the game. It is so much fun. You have to just let yourself go and be on the chew train, and it can get super rowdy and wild and loud. And I don't know. I think some of our funnest times have been playing this game.
Some of my favorite gaming moments in general have been around this game, and we've introduced it to a ton of people who have also said it was a blast, who've gone out and bought their own copies.
Yeah.
But to Jamie's point, be careful with Fuji Flush because it is dependent on people being rowdy
Yes.
and fun and getting loud and
Yeah.
getting into it. And if you don't do that, it's not going to hit as much.
It's just not as
It's
fun.
just not going to.
We've played it both ways. And I'll
Mhm.
tell you right now, I do prefer the rowdy way.
Mhm.
Because the other way, it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, you flushed me. No. Choo-choo train.
You got to get into it.
Choo-choo train.
Yeah.
You have to do that. It's very exciting. Jeffrey, number 1.
Our number 1 is one that just keeps sticking around.
It'll never go anywhere.
And that is Fantasy Realms.
So good.
Fantasy Realms is a card drafting. I don't want to say it's a deck builder because you're not building a deck.
It's not even drafting.
It's
What
like a
is it?
set collection game kind of deal, but you're not really.
It's an card optimization game.
It's like a hand optimization card game. You're going to be taking cards from a deck or a communal draft area in order to maximize the points in your hand at the end of the round. All of these cards trigger off of each other. There's multiple ways to score. All the cards will have an inherent value. For example, there is a king card. And let's say, for example, the king card is worth 10 points at the end of the game. But if you get the queen, it's worth 20 points.
Because they're in
Or
love.
if you get the queen and
The princess.
it's worth 50 points.
Freaking family.
You kind of get where I'm going here. Though all of these cards have triggers that will multiply other cards or blank cards, which means they're worth nothing if they're in your hand. For example, like a weather card could blank all army cards.
Or fire.
Or fire could blank blizzard, etc., etc. All you're trying to do is get the best possible combination of cards in your hand. And then at a certain point, once the end game is triggered, usually when there is a set amount of cards in the communal player area,
Depending on player count.
the game will end and you will count your points up. That's the game.
That's the game.
It sounds simple.
It is simple.
Because it is, but it is incredibly well crafted.
Oh,
all of the
brain
cards interact and shoot off of each other in a super really awesome way.
Yeah.
And other games have tried to like replicate that, you know, like Red Rising or
Marvel Remix,
but
Featherlight,
but Fantasy Realms just stands supreme. And it's one we always go back to and we're like, man, this game is just so incredibly good. Yeah. And it is literally just a deck of cards.
It comes with us everywhere we go. We play it with everyone. It plays fantastic at 2, 3, 4. We are so used to playing it at 2 at this point, though, that it's so quick for us. And the thing is, like, there's like infinite strategies that you can try, and it all depends on what card you get. In the whole game, you could be like, I gotta get that book of whatever, I gotta get that artifact, and you're just going because you're like, my hand is perfect, but if I get this, it'll be
that much better.
And you're just sifting through cards, and then it'll just go like that. The game will just end, and you'll be screwed because somebody else could just be like, well, screw you, I'm just gonna end the game because I know you're looking for something. And
we haven't even played with the Cursed Horde expansion, which just adds more cards. The one thing I would say, the scoring can be somewhat difficult. But there is a really good application. It's just a web page you can go to. You just select your cards and it'll calculate everything for you.
Anyways, that is our number 1 game. And those are our top 10 card games.
That's a great list.
We love card games. If you love card games, please let us know down below in the comments what are some of your favorites. I've recently been going through, I didn't even tell you, I've been going through Board Game Bliss, just adding card games to our card because I just love them so much. They're just fun. You can travel with them, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Anyways, if you're interested in buying board games or card games like any of the many we mentioned today, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. And for us, that is
the Boardroom Game Cafe.
Heck yeah, it is. Do you like snacks?
I do.
Amazing. Where should they get them?
Lunch pack.
Amazing. You should do that. We have $5 off. It's in the code somewhere on the screen. That is everything that we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see,
please subscribe.
We hope to see you again soon. And now we say goodbye. Goodbye.
Later it is. For this list.
I need to move closer to you. I can't tell where your arm is. Okay. Come back, Jeff. People, we like each other. You said, oh, my whole life is about you. And I hate it. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. 96 to 97 to 8% of these are fully card games. I don't like my rosacea. It makes me feel self-conscious.
Everything makes me feel self-conscious.
This is a 2-player trick.
I thought it was up there for some reason. It's small.
That's small.
Yeah. Similar box, though.
Yeah. Similar box.